let's see. What did you rate it as though? What was your rating?
I haven't been able to sit down and give it a number yet, but it's definitely, I'd say it's definitely one of my least favorite Star Wars movies. Like this trilogy doesn't even belong in there. We used to put them in the ranking, back in the day, this channel, we used to put them in ranks, what's your first two favorite, my first three favorite. And then, you just rank them all. You rank all the Star Wars films, right? That's what we used to do. I probably put this as almost last place.
I feel like there was a lot of moments where this movie could have been good, like a lot of like real fun sequences. There was some fun scenes. There was some pretty decent action sequences that I thought I liked. I actually liked better than I thought I was going to, more than I thought I was going to. But like you said, DBS, this movie at some point just jumps the shark, and it just like goes full out, crazy pants. And it just like after certain moments, you just go like, dude, what the hell's happening now? This is just off the rails, and just becomes just chaotic and stupid. Yeah, I don't think this was the worst of the trilogy. Obviously, the Rian Johnson one is the worst. We can't. The Last Jedi is definitely the worst. But frig, man, for originality. And based on what he had to do, because Rian Johnson gave him nothing. Like, let's be honest. Rian Johnson
painted him into a corner. He had nothing to work with.
He painted him into a corner. There was nothing to do. We've talked about how this, like if this was one of those, Second City moments or those improvisational games where, each person tells a story and then it goes to this one guy who then says, we went to the store and in this store we found a gun and then we threw it out the door. Okay, you're blocking. You're not allowed to block in these games. You're supposed to not say no. You're supposed to keep the story going by accepting everything. He didn't. He blocked everything. Luke Skywalker gets the right lightsaber, throws it out. Oh, incidentally, remember that sequence? What did you think of that? Where they tried to it was almost like a shot to Rian Johnson, where he catches the lightsaber and says, "You're gonna need this. This is an important tool. Don't disrespect the Jedi weapon." What did you think of that?
Yeah, when he's burning the Kylo's fighter. Michael Starr gives it a 2 out of 10.
It was weird because there were some moments that it definitely had that it felt like it was trying to correct some wrongs, trying to bring some of the fans back, trying to bring us back into Star Wars. There's definitely some moments that it had that, but it didn't. It just ended up failing at all those things. It was hollow.
No, you're right. It was hollow. It was like it was a shell of a movie. It looked like it could. There's things that could have been there if they made the plot less chaotic, if they kept it more simple and just sort of dealt with what they had, might have been something. But everything was just so fast paced because he again, the same thing with JJ. He can never. Everything has to be so fast so that you don't see how crappy everything is and so shallow everything is. So it's got to be next scene. Let's go to this scene. Let's go to that scene. Let's go to this scene. And so we don't get to see how bad everything really is because there's nothing there. I give this a 3.
So I give it 4 out of 5 shards. I wish I was 10 years old and watching this movie, and then I would be impressed, like whoa. But we're older.
There were some kids on my row. There were some kids on my row that were enjoying it because they kind of jumped when they saw Chewbacca. They're like, oh, Chewbacca.
This is a movie for kids. What I mean when I say it's for kids, I mean this is a movie that only an 8-year-old could possibly like. I'm sorry if you have the intelligence of anybody over if you're a teenager and if you don't give two shits about plot, if you just like whatever stupid things happening, you might like this. But if you care about plot, if you care about setting up, if you care about characterization, if you care about anything that makes any sort of sense, you can't like this. If you're a little girl, 4 to 8, wonderful time, or even a boy maybe.
And then the reaction from the women when Ben and when Kylo and Rey kissed, all the women in the crowd, they're like, oh. Yeah. My wife included. She's next to me and she's tapping me like, stop.
I heard someone punch their seat Like right when the kiss happened, they were just like I heard someone go ugh, and they were just like grunting.
Like nothing was earned. Okay, I'm going to give you an example of something that wasn't earned. Sorry, guys, this might be a spoiler, but another thing that wasn't earned. They're in the lightsaber battle between him and Kylo Ren and Rey. He's winning, right? He's winning, right? He's got her down. He's finally has her where he wants her. I thought maybe, and part of my mind was like, don't tell me she's going to lose a limb. I would have loved to see a limb lost, but anyway. And just as she's about to and she's angry with him. There's no love there. There's no connection there. This was he betrayed her. She thought, this was a moment of his betrayal to her, and then he attacks her, and now she's just like defending herself and being really, defensive. But she has no love toward him at this point for sure. He gets distracted by Leia, right? The Leia whole. Again, spoiler, Leia death scene where she distracts them. Another distraction, death by a main character. Again, remember, Luke, she farted herself away because she distracted him. So she pisses herself away for nothing more than a distraction.
So that's the second time she gets she gets distracted. Someone distracts to save her.
Just to distract. Yeah. So
what's the point of it then?
So she distracts Kylo Ren. Enough so that Rey could get up and then right away stab him. Okay. Mm-hmm. She stabs him, but then when he's like dying, she like has remorse for stabbing him. Why did you stab him? You weren't in your right mind. It wasn't like it was in the heat of a battle. He was like paused, stood there, like in his own mind, in his own world. She stabbed him.
Whoa.
There was no.
She's a Palpatine.
Yeah, but
she's
why
a Palpatine.
Did she stab right after?
She's stabbed first, regret later.
But he's a murderer. Yeah. He killed Han Solo. He almost killed his mother. He killed half the fleet. He killed in the first episode. He killed how many planets with the Death Star? How many planets did he destroy with that Death Star? And she saves him for no reason. He almost kills her. And then she saves him for no reason. It wasn't earned. That's what I'm saying. That moment.
She saved the monster.
And then she saves him by healing the wound with the Force.
And there were
did she call him a monster in this? No, right? No, I didn't hear her say, "You're a monster."
And then I liked when she pouted on Luke's island. Did you remember that? She went to go pout on Luke's island.
I mean, I'm sorry, but that was just silly. Have Luke pulling his own X-Wing out of the water so she obtains Luke's lightsaber, Luke's X-Wing, the Falcon. All these things are given to her, and she hasn't worked at all for them. She even gets to take his name from him. It's absolute blasphemy, man. It just doesn't make any sense.
And how uninteresting of a character is she that, like, her finale, like I would have loved to see maybe Luke go if Luke had survived to go see his old homestead, to go become a moisture farmer again. I would have loved to see Luke do that. But it's like, why not Rey? Why doesn't Rey go and inspect and go? We see where she actually tries to find out more about herself and her story. Go back to where she started from. You know what I mean? Go maybe a scene where she finds out where her parents are buried and maybe goes to see them. Something that is toward her, has nothing to do with other. And this is an insult.
I wanted to see her pour herself a cup of blue milk.
I didn't want to see that. I don't care about blue milk. My personal opinion is that I think the reason why they did that, and it's silly, it's a really superficial reason. The reason why they had her go back to Luke's house was because they didn't want to show Luke. That's why. And so the way that they get us to feel nostalgia for the twin sons, and with the music and the desert and seeing Luke's house, is by her going back to Luke's house. So she goes back to live in this tiny little hut when she could basically choose where she wants to live. She's given everything, so someone would give her a mansion. It's like she could live anywhere she wants to, but she decides to live there, even though she has no real emotional connection with Luke or Leia, for that matter. Apparently, she has somewhat of a connection with Leia, by this time. By through this movie, you see her feel a ton of remorse when Leia dies. But once again, horrible disservice to Carrie Fisher, because what is her legacy to these films? It's her dead. She, the opening crawl, the dead speaks, right? That's the beginning of the opening crawl, is the dead speaks. And here we are, Carrie Fisher is dead and speaking. So it's
here's her story too. Like, her story ends, and here's a moment where we're supposed to be grieving. This is how ass backwards this is. You have a moment where you're supposed to be grieving for Leia, right? That was her moment to grieve. Yes. And what do they do right away? They resurrect Han Solo for some weird Han Solo ghost talking to Ben moment. Leia passes away. This is her moment. They didn't give Han Solo his moment, so now they're stealing Leia's moment to give to Han Solo. When you know what I mean?
So when she was, I couldn't remember that. When she's dying, they brought Han back. Is that what happened?
Yeah, it was when she dies, they bring Han back.
Oh my gosh, that was so dumb.
And then he has a heart-to-heart that's like, what is this? What is this? And the whole time I'm like, is he a Force ghost? So this was like that Man of Steel moment with Superman is talking to his father on that mountain, right? And we're wondering, is he actually talking to his dad, or is his dad dead, or is his dad alive? Is he what is this?